So let's talk about the 7 streams of income for beginners. Just to be transparent, as a beginner, you should not be worried about all 7 streams of income. I am strictly informing you of potential steps to take that will help you get to those 7 streams. But by all means, I only want you to focus in on 1 to 2 streams to begin. And those include, first off, your 9 to 5. Think about your career. Find what you are very passionate about. If you've gone to school to get licenses, certifications, put your all into building that first. Make sure that you take the time to get a great employer that will allow you to have 401k and be able to match what you are putting in. We're going to talk about that in a moment with investments. But you want to do everything you can to build that 9 to 5 capacity first. And that way you're able to bring in the most money possible, and you can not only live off that money, that can also fund the other income streams, because that's where people go wrong. They put the bare minimum into their 9 to 5, and then they're like, okay, I'm ready to start a business, I want to invest. You need capital. And sometimes you don't want to just go out and get a bunch of loans or use all your credit cards to build those things. It is best if you can use cash flow for your investments when you're first starting. And then as time goes on, you may want to utilize other means of things to put into your investments. So you build that 9 to 5 to fund the rest of the streams, and then that's when you go into building your business. Now, when you start off your business, you might just be self-employed, where you are the only one working within your business, and over time you might be able to scale your business where you have other employees or 1099 contractors that can help you in the business. That makes it more so passive. I have very passive businesses where I hardly have to do anything in them now, but that's been about 10 years of work. So keep that in mind as you are looking at your business. Again, you use what you can in your business, keep your expenses as low as possible, and then once you start making money off of that, use that money to fund your investments further. So let's talk about different investments that you can have. As I mentioned, you want to tap into the stock market because that is a great place to leverage and make a good amount of money, but you want to make sure your portfolio is diversified. So different ways to invest in your stocks. If you want, you can hit the link in the bio to grab the Robinhood app. I have some free stock to give away, so you can get that as well if you sign up. In the stock market, as I shared, your 401k, you want to make sure you are doing everything you can to get so much out of that opportunity with your employer. You may not want to just do regular stocks that you just purchase unless you have learned how to read and understand stocks, IPOs, all of that type of stuff. If you're interested in that, you can also check out the link in my bio for Position to Prosper Masterclass series. That's all about passive income streams as well. So, with that, you also have a Roth IRA as an option to be able to gather your diversification in your portfolio. That's going to help you as well. And you also can look at a traditional IRA if you're looking for tax deductibles to be able to save, on your taxes. There are all types of things you can do with that. Just make sure that you are prepared for any risk as you're investing. You want to create as much balance as possible. If you are younger, you might can tolerate higher risk versus if you're older, more towards retirement age, you want to minimize risk as much as possible. The next investment is real estate. So I've shared with you guys many times about Fundrise. you will want to go ahead and tap into Fundrise as soon as possible. That is an opportunity to get into different diversified portfolios, whether it's private equity, if you want to tap into AI, or if you want just basic portfolio with real estate, you can check that out. Before the pandemic, they were about 8 to 12% returns. There was a little fluctuation, and now it's kind of going back up to that. So you want to get in while it's much lower, and you can basically get some properties on sale. You'll be a part of that crowdfunding opportunity. You can also look at purchasing your own real estate. So if it's your own home, or you want to do different housing projects where you are essentially a landlord, you can look at subsidized living, affordable living. There's so many options to get into real estate as well. Another option for investments is to do more private equity. Of course, you can do this through Fundrise. I think that's a little easier to do, but there are chances where you can go and find businesses, learn about their profitability, and you can either invest in those businesses or purchase them and have them essentially run by themselves. So there are lots of options there. And lastly, I personally always think that you should keep some gold, um, whether on hand or in the stock market, or you have someone save it for you based on where you purchase it, because the market in general around the world is not always as stable, but having gold kind of gives you a way to feel a little bit more steady in your investments in case anything goes wrong. That is available to you. This is a lot of information, but I know that it's going to help those who are ready. This will prep you to get into my Position to Prosper Masterclass series. You guys, I go deep on this, show you where to purchase things, how to purchase them. So you want to tap into that as soon as possible. The Great Wealth Transfer is here, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit more as well. So you might even be running into some money within the next 20 years, 20 to 30 years or so. So you want to be ready for that. Thanks so much for listening, and I can't wait to share more.